Hello, Gemini, and welcome to your reading for February the 3rd through February the 9th. This is for Gemini. What wonderful gifts, guidance, blessings, and helpful information can you give Gemini for February the 3rd through February the 9th? This is general reading, guys. It's for the collective, so take what resonates and leave the rest. If you'd like a personal reading, click on this link right here, and that will take you to my website. You can check out the readings I offer. Sometimes it takes me a minute to put all the links down below, so be patient and check back, but they will be there. Okay, 3 cards for Gemini, please. 3 cards for Gemini. 3 cards straight away. It's so amazing. Okay, let's see what we have here. Very, very good. Okay, now let's go to clarifying cards for Gemini. What wonderful gifts, guidance, blessings, and helpful information can you give Gemini through these clarifying cards for February the 3rd through February the 9th? Please clarify. There we go. 2 cards for that. Please clarify. Okay, and please clarify. Whoops. You've got a lot of messages here, Gemini. Let me just say that. Okay, let's go to your cards and see what you have here. Here you go. Okay, Gemini, the first card out for you is the 3 of Wands, clarified by 2 cards, the 3 of Swords and the Ace of Wands. Then you have the Death card, clarified by the Hanged Man. Then you have the Page of Swords, clarified by the Star card and the 8 of Swords. Gemini. All right, you're really going to feel, Gemini, your ruling planet Mercury moving into Pisces this week. So stay tuned for the astrology report after. Excuse me. The first card out for you is the 3 of Wands. And the 3 of Wands comes into your card. It's like Jupiter, it's expansion, bigger, better, more. It's optimism, an adventure. And it really means planning. So you are being asked to really see your future optimistically and to plan accordingly. His ship's come in, and he's watching it being unloaded, and he's making these plans. He's got really long-term plans, right? So would you if your ship was docked and you were seeing all those riches being unloaded. So it's really important for you to make those plans long-term. And clarifying the 3 of Wands is the 3 of Swords and the Ace of Wands. So that's another 3, right? And 3 means expansion, right? But the 3 of Swords is pain. And, swords it's interesting because you've got the heart and you've got the swords, right? So the heart is all about emotion and the swords are all about intellect, right? And they're sharp and it's communication. Look, this is a pain that's kind of installed. It's within us all, this pain of betrayal and heartache and heartbroken. But it's brought back to us. It's stimulated by something someone says or something someone does, and it's really not about them, but it's about, this pain being kicked up in us again. So we're brought back to it intellectually, by our minds from what somebody says, and we feel that pain and that heartache. Now, what I'm getting for this, it's right. Look, this is the Ace of Wands, which is right next to it, right? And the Ace of Wands has this beautiful butterfly. This is about change. When the Three of Swords comes into a reading, it is telling you to take this in, right? To feel it and release it once and for all. And this could be a releasing of a relationship at this full moon, because full moon's about combinations, about endings. And this could be a relationship ending. Something's over. It could be that your heartache is ending. But this is definitely a time to release this pain. And look, it's not that this pain completely goes away, Gemini. It doesn't. It's there, but it dulls over time. And it's never as painful once we deal with it and once we connect the dots. Think about where this came from. Where did this pain initiate? How did our perhaps parents abandon us? We might have been really young and our parents went away and we felt abandoned. We couldn't understand that they went away for a few days, maybe. We don't, but try to pinpoint this pain so that you can release it and move forward. And the Ace of Wands is a new beginning. It's about, it's a spark that lights a match that will set a fire. Will light up a fire. So the potential for wonderful new beginning is right there. It's a change, right? Butterflies mean change. So I feel that you're moving on to another phase, and this is going to be released. This pain, this Three of Swords is going to be released. And I really do feel that, because look, this is the Death card, and this is death and rebirth. I heard the other day that awareness and enlightenment is about, it's not eternal. When they talk about eternal life, right? Eternal life is this moment. This is eternal. In this moment, it's void of time, right? Spirit's here. My nose is itching like crazy. So it's void of time. There's no time when you're eternally in a moment. And this spiritual teacher had mentioned that you have to kill off you. You have to die in order to be reborn through this awareness and this spiritual growth, right? In order to fully immerse yourself in this journey we call life, in an enlightened way, in constantly letting go. But you have to die. The old you, that essence has to go. One that is tied to time and this physical world. It's not like we're not in this physical world. We're spiritual beings on a physical path, right? So we have to remember both. The part of ourselves that, completely die. We have to die in order to be reborn. That's what this is about. This is about a total internal transformation. And so, this is change. I'm seeing major change for you here, Gemini. Like really incredible change. And look, you've got the Hanged Man clarifying the Death card. And so you really have to kind of look at this from a different perspective. And so I think life is changing for you, and you really have to see it in a different light. The Hanged Man's spiritual. He's hanging from the tree of life, and he's looking at everything upside down, and everything looks very different when you're upside down, So this is about really opening your mind up. The Death card is about being in the hallway, but you have to close the door. You have to kill off the old you in order to go forward, renewed with vigor and excitement and awareness and enlightenment. And so you have to kind of see this. Sometimes being in the hallway is a little difficult, but we just have to close the door behind us so that we can move forward. So look at this in that way. sometimes it's a challenging time, right? It's major change for us, and it's hard for us sometimes to deal with change. But if we deal with it in an enlightened way, then we can move forward, exalted. Excuse me. Okay, so the next card out for you is the Page of Swords. Excuse me. And the Page of Swords, look, he's ready to, defend. Pages have been in service to the knight and the king, right? And they have been an apprentice, right? And at some point, they have to go out and be a knight. So this is saying that you're ready for the next phase of your life. I am seeing that all over your reading, Gemini. This is I feel that you are on the precipice of a major change. And the Page of Swords is a community. I was talking about this in one of the other readings. It's like, and this full moon is kind of about that. And Mercury Mercury changing signs. There's a lot of energy shifts this week, right? So it does kind of lend itself to major change. So stay for the astrology report after this so that you can really understand your reading and get some perspective on it. So the Page of Swords is saying that, even though there are clouds in the sky, you have to have the courage to move on to the next phase of your life. And perhaps somebody is telling you something that is hard to hear. You might receive information that perhaps is hard to hear, but do not react to it. Take it in. Even though it's, because, sometimes the truth hurts. Some area of our life might need work, and we've been avoiding it or not looking at it in a way that we need to, in a pragmatic way. And perhaps somebody is telling you that, and you know it, and you definitely don't want to hear it. That happened to me today. Gemini, it's no joke. And it's painful, but when you look at it in a pragmatic way and you take the emotions out of it, it's like, the emotions are there. You can't, because it's the truth, and it's because it's something that for a while that you've kind of needed to really do something about, but it's been overwhelming. Perhaps you weren't in the right, emotional state to handle it, but, handle it you must. Because 2020 is about making those changes. It's about doing that work. And clarifying this card is the Star card and the Eight of Swords. I'm going to mention them both at the same time. Now, the Star card is a card of hope. This is, I see the Death card as a card of hope, because this is, new beginnings. It's the old you dying up. You can't be who you have been. You have to be different going forward. There's something's really got to change, and you know what that is, Gemini. And this is about, she's spreading stardust and putting light where there was once darkness. So your path forward will be illuminated, because you've been feeling stuck. You've been feeling, the Eight of Swords is about feeling stuck and not seeing a solution, not seeing a way out. But the Star card is like, take the blindfold off, darling. Listen to what the messenger's saying. Don't shoot the messenger. Take it in. What can you own? Yes, it might not have been delivered in the, with, pretty bows, roses and lovely scent. No, sometimes the truth is just delivered in a way that feels judgy. You feel judged because you're really judging yourself. So, when somebody tells you this stuff, it feels judgy, and it hurts. So this is a time that you take the blindfold off and you look at what you need to change, Gemini. What is it? This full moon will give you the courage. It's the full moon in Leo. What is it that you need to let go of? What destructive behavior do you need to let go of? What helpful behavior can you bring in? How can you contribute to society? And this healing, this is a hope. This is a card of hope. So once you take the blindfold off and you see it, you can start to change. You can start to take action in that direction. And things will get better for you. I see major change and hope. You just have to, see it for what it is and take the action towards rectifying it. Gemini, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for all of your likes, shares, your comments. I really appreciate that. And if, all the subscribers, if you haven't already, please do subscribe and stay tuned for the astrology report, which is coming up right next. So, I love you all, and I'll see you on the other side. Hello, I'm really glad you stayed to listen to the astrology report and to see what's happening in the celestial sky this week, and what a celestial sky we have. Now, on Monday, February the 3rd, Mercury moves into Pisces. Now, Mercury is the planet of communication, intellect, logic, details, right? Facts. And Pisces is quite the opposite to that. Pisces is like creative and dreamy and romantic and poetic. So Mercury in Pisces is thought to be in detriment, and that means at its weakest power. But what Mercury in Pisces does is it gives insight. So the conversations are more pleasant, and it gives insight into somebody's mood, and you can avoid confrontation, and you can have pleasantries, pleasant conversations, sweet, romantic, almost poetic in nature. So it's a wonderful way of communicating and of seeing into somebody's mood and being able to direct a conversation or ideas around that. And it's kind of visionary too, because you can have brilliant ideas on these daydreams. The thing is it's really, it is not detail oriented. So when Mercury is in Pisces, for me, I can go off on tangents, and I put little alarms on my phone to bring me back into the moment, particularly when I need to take care of things, because you can kind of get lost on social media, lose track of time. It's that kind of energy. Now we move on to Friday, February the 7th, and Venus moves into Aries. Now, Venus has been in Pisces, where it's exalted, where it's the strongest, it can express itself. She can express herself fully, Venus can, right? And think of her in Pisces in this long, flowing chiffon, willowy, romantic gown, right? Blowing in the wind. And then she moves into Aries, and suddenly she's in a rubber red dress and garter belt and stockings and perhaps a whip in her hand. High heels. She's very, aggressive, assertive. She goes after what she wants and she gets it. Venus in Aries is the initiator. So, some of her a male energy comes out and she goes after what she wants. So it's very kind of, think of Mars. It's very kind of sexual, sensual energy. And then on Sunday, February the 8th or 9th, right, depending on where you are, you're going to see this beautiful full moon on the 8th, and it is going to peak at 2:33 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's going to be in the morning, in Europe, and it's going to be earlier, late in the evening in California, on on the Pacific Standard Time. So this is a full moon in Leo. Now, full moons are when the moon and the sun are opposite each other, right? So this is, think of, this is about courage. It's about being heart-centered. It's interesting, right? Because the sun is in Aquarius and the moon is in Leo. And at the same time as this beautiful full moon at 20 degrees Leo, it's also right next to a fixed star, which is very kind of Mars-like, and it is trining, the moon is trining Mars. So this brings passion, vigor, energy, sensuality, chemistry. It is, Leo is in the house of romance, fun, excitement, and children and family too. So that you get all this energy and this vigor into these relationships, but it's also about helping others, this moon. Now, I will just say that full moons are always kind of a culmination and a releasing, right? They're whatever you've kind of started, good or bad, in the new moon, then it comes to fruition in the full moon. So sometimes where this full moon lands in your chart depends on which area of life it affects. And that brings me to my Facebook group, guys. It's a private Facebook group. And every 2 weeks, we look at the new moon or the full moon, respectively, and we see where it lands in our charts, right? So I do a live feed in that private Facebook group. The link will be below. Check that out. Now, so this full moon is about helping others, right? It's being heart-centered. It's putting love into the world, and it's about helping others. It's right opposite Aquarius, the humanitarian sign, right? The sun. And the sun is illuminating the moon. That's why it's so full. So we are going to, this full moon is definitely about how can we help? What can we do for society? Where can I use my courage? How can I use my courage? How can I improve or help or contribute to society? Right? Because this is all inclusive and it's heart-centered. It's love, putting love out there into the world. And that's what my Facebook group is about. We are a group of like-minded people, and it's loving, it's supportive, it's very positive, it's lovely. So ask to join. There's a couple of questions you have to ask. I do actually require that you have a profile photograph. I no longer accept people without profile photographs. And it's got to be a real account. I check out the profile, and if it doesn't look real, I won't accept. So, we're about authenticity, right? And that's what this full moon is about, authenticity. It's about being, it's about coming into oneness with everyone. So, when we do that live feed, we'll be looking at what we need to let go. Do we need to let go of friendships? Do we need to let go of relationships? Do we need to let go of jobs, of the apartments, of the areas that we live? What do we need as opposed to what do we want? And this is a question we need to ask ourselves throughout 2020, going forward. We need, Saturn is playing a huge role along with Pluto and Capricorn. We still have all these planets in Capricorn, and it is about frugality, right? It's about no waste. It's about seeing, using what we need and not consuming so much. Consumerism is down. We need to grow personally. We want to expand our awareness and our consciousness into the society at large. We want to focus on our similarities as opposed to our differences. And this is a beautiful full moon in which to connect with people and how we can help others. So, guys, I really appreciate all the likes, shares, comments, and subscriptions. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And I love all the personal, all the comments, both personal and public, are just so inspiring and touching to me. And I need that encouragement just as much as the next person. So I thank you all for that. And another way to help me is through Patreon. This is another way to support my channel and help me grow, help me put out more creative content. You know, I think you can support me as little as $1 a month. It's not a lot for you, but it's huge for me. Imagine if everyone gave me $1. It would be amazing. You know, my equipment is slowly becoming archaic. I could really use some help to replace that. But listen, no pressure. I post things on Patreon that I don't post anywhere else, so it might be worth checking out. Thank you, above all, thank you all for joining me and helping me grow. Mwah. I love you all, and I'll see you next week.